Hi everybody, this is Cameron at Brew in a Bag BIAB Homebrew Adventures, and today I am going to do a recipe that I've been wanting to do for a while, and it's the Southern Tier Pumpkin, which is around 8.6% on the commercial stats on that. Mine says it's going to be about 8.51 with about 70% efficiency with Brew in a Bag. Some of the things that I'm going to be using are 15 pounds of pale 2-row, 2 pounds of Victory, which has a leva bond of about 28, and the Crystal 80, I'm going to have 0.75 pounds of it, so obviously that's an 80 leva bond. So the interesting thing about this was that when I use RO water for all my IPAs, I end up being fine without the need of any bicarbonate because of the fact that there's hardly any crystals involved or roasted barley or anything like that inside of an IPA or pale ale. But this beer is a little bit fuller. It's got a lot more 80 in it than normal. I need to have my pH at around 5.4, and I can't do that with just RO water because of the additional acid that the grains bring to the table. So I'm actually going to use 50% blend of the city water here, dechlorinated, and the other 50% will be RO water. So that should put me in where I need to be. So for hops, we've got 1 ounce of Magnum at 50 minutes on the 60-minute boil, and then 1 ounce of Sterling at the 10-minute mark. Some other ingredients that we'll be having is I have 0.375 pounds of corn sugar, and then also 0.1 pounds of brown sugar. This is a big beer, a lot of grain, even additional sugars needed. So it's going to be a cool color. Then I've got my pumpkin. I just get 2 pounds of pumpkin in a can, or actually 2 cans. I think they're 1 pound, 13 ounce at the store. I just put it in on mash and mix it all in because it's mostly for color anyways. And since I do brew in a bag, I don't have stuck sparges or anything like that. So whatever goes into the fermenter is what goes in. I dump it all in. And the other thing is that I do put like a 6-gallon batch in my calculations in order to probably come out more with 5 because of all the added stuff. So that's where we are with that. Then also during about 5 minutes left, we also have some additional ingredients here that make this a pumpkin beer really. And what that is the spices. And what I do is I take 1/2 teaspoon of allspice, 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/2 teaspoon of fresh ginger, it says, but I just use ginger from a spice rack. I also have nutmeg, 1/2 ounce of that, 1/2 ounce of white cloves, and that's it for like 5 minutes left. And I just put that right in there. I mix it up ahead of time. Then when I'm kegging is where I'll add another 1/8 of a teaspoon of allspice. And here was this the magic ingredient that everybody says is this stuff that I got right here, which is called Capella's Graham Cracker Crust Extract. Now if you use a ton of this, you're going to be disappointed because it'll be all metallic. So all you need is 1 teaspoon for an entire 5.5 gallon batch. So and then on top of that, I also have a teaspoon of vanilla extract. So this thing is a spice bomb. You better watch out how much you use. It's always easy to add more spice when you're done kegging and even have it carved up. You can keep adding spice to your like, but you can't take it out. You have to let it sit for a long time. So I'm not very patient. I don't like to have to wait for 6 months for an ale. I just want to make it and have it ready to go in about 2.5 weeks. So that's what we got. I'm using USO5 just because I haven't gotten into the liquid yeast as much yet. So that's what I'm doing today. It's a Southern Tier Pumpkin Ale, Imperial Pumpkin Ale, and I'm going to hopefully get this video from brewing all the way to tasting, and so somebody could take this recipe and actually use it to their liking, put any comments in my video on what they found out, and also I'll put the link to the Brewer's Friend recipe on my Brewer's Friend account so somebody can just bring it over to them. Alright, well, I'll see you on the other side here. Okay, I was just about to get up to temperature. I don't know what I was saying on my previous statement about the temperature I'm mashing in. It said 163 on the one recipe. I will not be mashing in at 163. I'll be doing 154, 155. I found this really cool thermometer probe on Amazon for really cheap. I forget the cost of it, but it's pretty cheap. But the only thing is there's no on-off switch on it, which I don't know why they didn't make it. That's maybe why it's cheap. But you just keep putting a battery in and out of it, and it does really good because it has this really long probe that I can run up and down and right into my kettle. And so I can tell when I'm up to the right temp, which is going to come up here real quick. I have to be at like 161, 162 to be able to mash in and have the temperature right down where I need it at 154, 155. So just wanted to clarify that. I'm not going to be mashing it no 163. So what I'll do is I'll come back when I'm done mashing, and we'll take a look at it and see how it looks. Or maybe even I'll do a little bit when I'm stirring in the pumpkin so you can see how it looks. So here we are. We got done mashing in. I collected a little bit more wort than I wanted to, so I just adjusted my time of a couple minutes on the boil. But I had forgotten, the way I prefer to do the pumpkin is actually after the mash, but before the boil. So I thought of a great way to stir in that pumpkin after I got it in there, and I just dumped it all in there. And this thing works really good. I use it for like a little bit oblong right now because I dropped it at some point, but it's got like a false bottom type thing on a thing that go on your drill, but it acts like a mixer, and I just mixed that stuff in there really good, and wow, it does a really good job. I mean, the color of that has changed to an orange hue now, and looks awesome. So I'm going to bring it up to boil now that I stirred in all that pumpkin, and I took a sample for gravity, and we'll do the boil and cool it down. I'm excited to see what this one tastes like. It looks awesome right now. Cheers. All my wort into my fermenter, and I ended up with a little under or right at 6 gallons of wort, and my gravity was right on the money at 1.079. So I'm going to let it cool down for a little bit, and then we will pitch the yeast and let the yeast do the work. Hi everybody, I'm back. It's been 4 weeks since I brewed this, and some things that I wanted to correct in the video was that I'd forgotten when I do the pumpkin actually right after I pull the bag. This allows for you to kind of mix it in without the bag in there, because just like people get stuck mashes, so do you get a ton of this pumpkin in your brew in a bag, so you can't mash with it. So you get it into your mash water after the bag is pulled, and you mix it in like I was showing you on the video. And what that does is it allows you to mix it in real good, but then strain it out when you actually go to dump it into your fermenter, because you will have a lot of stuff in your fermenter. This takes 2 packets of US-05 in my recipe, so there's a big yeast cake plus all the stuff from the pumpkin that settled out. But as you can see, the color on this is a nice orange color. It's been sitting just a little bit, but it's well carbonated. To take a taste of it, a smell of it first, I can definitely smell the graham cracker crust extract as well as the allspice, and it kind of has a sweet smell to it. Same thing with the taste. The taste, you can taste the graham cracker first, the allspice second, a little bit of sweet, and the hops are in there too. It's a good balance. But the alcohol came out to be about 7.8, so it's not 8.6 like the real thing, but you know, it's still like on the verge of being an Imperial Pumpkin Ale. I think 8 is where you can say that. So definitely, I've had a couple glasses of this, and it's not something you'd want to maybe drink all night long unless you're into that. But it's a great seasonal beer. Some people actually take honey and put it on the edge like a Christmas ale, and then they'll put it in some cinnamon and sugar like a rim, and that tastes really good with this too. Took it to a party last night, and had a bunch of people trying a growler of it, and everybody really liked it, and so that's a good test. Some people are real picky beer drinkers too, so I would recommend this to you. Try it, give it a try. I'll put the recipe in the notes on my Brewer's Friend account if you have any questions about it. Another thing that was wrong in the video, I actually had grabbed a thing of mint instead of vanilla, but you put a half a teaspoon in of vanilla, a half a teaspoon of the graham cracker crust extract, and an 1/8 of a teaspoon of the allspice when you go to keg it. So all in all, I really like this beer. I will definitely do this one again. Any questions, like I said, just get a hold of me. Here's to a good Halloween, and soon we'll all be brewing our Christmas ales coming up. So cheers.